Hello, Brother Monroe here. Welcome back to Ultimate Admiral Dreadnoughts and to the Greek campaign, where things are going okay in our many wars, apart from this one. There is, however, a Dutch battleship down here. That is useful because they looks like they might blunder straight into our fleet. This, I think, will now go away. I don't think the US... I will leave the fleet there just in case. I don't think the US have enough tonnage, no they don't, to proceed with this naval invasion. So we've blocked that off, that's good. But we do have a desperate need for more ships. We're starting to get stretched pretty thin. We are building a bunch of... well, we have built a bunch of torpedo boats, destroyer-type ships. I'm still building 2 more. We're repairing the light cruisers that got fairly battered in that big fight with the Americans, but we are recovering there. However, we have a lot of key technologies. We have turbines. We have Mark II 12-inch guns. We actually have Mark II 13-inch guns as well. So I would bring our battleship in for a refit, but I'm not sure I can spare her at the moment. So instead, what we're going to do is we're going to look at potentially a new battleship. We do have the Dreadnought 1. We also have the Armoured Cruiser 5 hull, because I think the Apostolises are on the... They're on the 3, this one. Yeah, a Dreadnought 1. Not the easiest hull to build on, I'll be honest. But, yes, a second battleship. I mean, if I can get more, I will try. So we definitely need to go on a lightning spree. So Canaris is 13,000 tons. How big can we make these? Realistically, 22,000 tons. That's pretty big for us. Pretty big indeed. Speed. We could get 21 knots out of it. That would be very nice. That's the same speed as our protected cruisers. Yeah, let's go with the reinforced standard tower. I might have to shift things around as we go. We'll need a pair of funnels, which are both quite far forward. In fact, the whole ship feels very far forward. What happens when I shorten it? Yeah. I might make it shorter, and therefore smaller. Does it get shorter again? It does. Right around 17,000 tons. Let's have a look. If I go 0, 0, yeah, I'm going to go no reduction on beam draft. That brings it up to a 19,000 ton ship. So it's a bit chunkier because I'm not pushing the speed much. It is actually less efficient than the min beam min draft ship, but not by much. Guns. I think we do. Whilst we do have the option of 13-inch Mark II, they are strictly speaking just better, apart from rate of fire, which is a bit of an issue. I think it would make more sense for the Greeks to stick with a 12-inch gun, as we are familiar with it. They are also, of course, lighter. And it appears we use French guns, which is quite helpful. Oh! No, that one's too big. That one's definitely too big. This one isn't, though. Yeah, that works for me. They can still see you out of the conning tower, and then you've got a flying bridge up here. So that's fine. Although it's not, because looking at the sections, this doesn't work. Because really I want the turret to be there. Okay. Maybe you're going to be a slightly different design to my normal. Because we want the rear turret there. Well, we can have a rear super firing pair, I suppose. I was wondering if we could fit a Q turret in. Oh, of course, I need a secondary tower. That's what goes in that space. At least I know exactly how big that space is going to be. Probably move. Actually, I'm not going to move that just now. Oh, actually, I think there's a trick you can pull off with this hole. Yeah, I can slide this back, and then we can get the super firing gun in. Error. Oh, fuck, I don't have that tech. God damn it. Okay, well, I know what I want to build then. But I don't have the tech. Is that gun layout? Yeah, I've got the superimposed tech that I need, but I don't have, for some reason, 4 large centreline turrets is not unlocked yet. But okay, 7 months. That's fine. We can do that. Am I getting a new cruiser? No, well, semi-armored cruiser 2. Alright, well, what I think I'm going to do then is something a bit different. I'm going to refit the Themistocles because I think they need it. Obviously, we are currently building 2. So yeah, we'll need to have a look at that. But yeah, they're still on coal, but we can go to a turbine. Raising it. TNT, make them slightly less explodey. 18-inch torpedoes. Armor is fine. That gives us a fair increase in, well, everything really. I'd like them to have standard. Well, range is still tricky. I'd like them to have more speed, actually. 27, 28, 29. Let's go for 30. It's another 4 knots of speed out of them. That does cut their range a little bit, which is potentially an issue. I only still have twin launchers. But that should make them a little bit more survivable. Not just because they now have standard bulkheads instead of minimal bulkheads, but also because they are 4 knots faster. And with those bigger torpedoes and longer range, they should just be generally more useful. So I'm going to save this design, but I am also going to copy it and I'm going to save it as a batch 2 design so that I can just build more of the refits if I choose. And I probably will choose. Right, let's get them refitting. They are refitted very, very quickly for an engine swap, but it's just the nature of things in the game at the moment. That should help a lot. Yeah, do I have one building in Gallipoli? I do. That's good. Okay, cool. So hopefully we'll fit. This will take about 7 turns to get rid of, and then we can go attack Lebanon, Syria probably. Try and expand the economy a little bit. What on earth? Sure, Argentina gains control of northeast Italy. Are we at war? No, we're not. Okay, I was thinking that might be an interesting one to try and grab back. They do have 4 battleships, to be fair, and the Italians have lost their fleet. But still, that is completely ridiculous. Most of the repairs are now done, which is good. I will try and get repaired ships back into the fight if I can. Yeah, we just need this to time out. It is going to take a while, unfortunately. The army seems to have gone quiet for a bit. Oh, of course, we're not at war with the Ottomans anymore. I'm so stupid. I was like, oh yeah, attack here, attack here. I can't do that anymore. Okay, I need to recalibrate. In that case, where did that Dutch ship go? It's there. Well, there are no American ships to come do that, so let's go get that Dutchman. I might run into the Chilean instead, or the Spaniards. All good, to be honest. It is the Spanish that we come across, the Amarante Oquendo. Green crew, otherwise looks alright, at first glance anyway. Yeah, I need to recalibrate. I'm just like so focused on the Ottomans. I'm like, why are you not attacking the Ottomans? Oh, that's why. So really, what I need to be doing is attacking the Spanish. I'm wondering if maybe take the Balearic Islands? That could potentially be interesting. Where's the enemy? They're usually dead ahead. Yeah, I'd love to upgrade the Canaris. Maybe I will pull her in for a cheeky little refit. Because I don't think... She needs some repairs anyway. Whoa, 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 whoa. Slow down. Let's have a look at this Spaniard. Semi-armoured cruiser. Looks perfectly decent, apart from the weird spacing of the funnels. Mark II 7s. Decent armour for that type of ship. Yep, no problem with that. Oh, what's the torpedo range? I didn't check that. 1.6. Okay. Nice shot. She's, of course, very badly outnumbered. Sectorus. Aggressive torpedo. Thank you. Back to normal. Actually, back to off. To port a little bit. One of the torpedoes went. There have been some improvements to torpedoes in the latest version of DIP. There's a bit more spread to them. Only one of them was a dud. Both in direction and speed as well. And yeah, the AI and player, like, there's the max range of the torpedo, and then there's the range you'll actually fire at. So if you want to fire at max range, you kind of need to be on aggressive. Yeah, those torpedo hits have really crippled them. Should just be able to batter them into submission. And someone is ringing my phone. That's somewhat annoying. Right, phone call with the Admiralty over. Difficult to call me in the middle of a battle. Let's sink this Spaniard. They're just dead in the water. Eventually they're going to go down. There we go. Good. 1 and 2 Sectorus for that torpedo run. Okay. Persia would like destroyers. That's the old one. Sure. I can afford it. My 2 new ones will be finished soon. I can refit them and then I can get rid of the... Actually, I probably shouldn't because of the way... Actually, I need to check it, so I will delete this design in a moment. Okay, that's not the ship I was after. There is that Chilean ship. Right, let's send the... I'm going to split up a bit. I'm going to send the light cruisers there. I'm going to send the armoured cruisers here to deal with that, along with the now repaired Tombazis. And the Canaris is going to head home for a repair and a refit, because she needs new guns anyway at this point, I'm sure. Alright, Chilean light cruiser spotted. We shall sink her. I wonder what happened to that Dutch ship. I really need to find that. The Dutch have a big enough fleet that I can't go, you know, zooming off and... trying to attack them. We need to keep the fleet at home, given how many wars are going on. It's just not sensible to leave Greece undefended. Shot. Look at that. Lovely. And another. The 1603 here. Suffering somewhat. Yeah, these cruisers have really shown that they are very effective, as I hoped they would be. Yeah, the 4 7-inch guns is something that is more of an armoured cruiser loadout. But on a small... Oh my god, Britain, you need to stop losing that many transports. Arabia would like Batch 2 destroyers. Sure. No problem. Right. How long is Canaris going to be repairing? 1 month. Well, that's fine. I also need to name these guys. Right. So that is still timing out. We only have Argentinian. Well, we do have Argentinian ships. We're not at war with Argentina. We're not at war with Austria. None of the A's. There is the Dutch battleship. Okay, so the most obvious thing to go and do is to go take Mallorca. I think that is close enough to our home base. Yeah, there's a lot of Dutch ships. Are the Dutch at war with the British? They are. So they can't come in. So it's just this battleship, I think. If we can hunt her down and sink her, that would be fantastic. Okay, I think Canaris has been repaired. Yes, she has. Let's have a look at her. And go into refit mode. So, first thing we want to do is I want to look at engines. So we have the multiple expansion 2 at 97, turbines at 99. Yeah, it's a slow ship. We'll keep her on expansion engines, but we'll update them. Give her an auxiliary engine, although it's a petrol engine, which is not the best thing in a ship. I could improve her anti-torpedo, but I'll come back to that because that is very heavy. Soft cap. Oh, we can get cap ballistic HE shells. Also upgrade to TNT. Do I remove her torpedoes? Is the question. I think they are still useful. Oh, a radio. This is the big one though. Upgrading the mark of those guns. Because now we have some pretty nice guns. And yeah, we have 2% weight back. She's already got maximum bulkheads. Seriously, now we're going to be able to fit more coal on her. Yeah, we just leave it for now. People have said just remove the 4.5 torpedoes. Do you know what? That's not a bad shout. Let's remove the 4.5 torpedoes. Where are her other torpedo choosers? One there. Do you know what? I am going to take them off. We've seen too many torpedo detonations, so I'm going to remove them. And replace them. Oh no, I can't get deck launchers. Damn it. Anyway, I'm going to remove them just to increase the survivability of the ship a bit. And I am going to fit it with anti-torp too. Because I do have the weight for it. So, yeah, we'll rework her hull a little bit. Remove the holes in it. And reinforce the outer hull to withstand torpedoes a little bit better. What's the rate of fire on these things? 1.1 rounds a minute. Okay, actually. Alright. I think she's looking even better. She's not fast, but for the limited waters of the Med, I think she's fine. She'll be in for 2 months. We can also refit this one. I have named the destroyers, by the way. I ran out of T names, so I started on S. Yeah. That is looking okay. So, a couple of Spanish ships floating about. What does Spain actually have? That's not something I've checked. Oh, they have very little. These 2 cruisers and a torpedo boat. I'd love to be able to intercept them. Let's send the lights to go do that. I'm going to leave the heavies here just to make sure that this doesn't go through. And then I think once the refit's done, we gather the fleet together and we go over here and see if we can't get some action. Right, this has finally timed out. It takes a long time to do. I'm going to send them over here to try and hit that Dutch battleship. There is still this Spanish cruiser over here, but the Spanish will probably come over here pretty sharpish. Also notice the Russians are absolutely rampaging across the Austro-Hungarians, and the French seem to be rampaging across the Germans, including Denmark. Little old Denmark successfully taking Helgoland. Good for them. We also have a naval invasion by Brazil of Western Germany, which seems ambitious. What is going on in South America? Not a huge amount. Chile still exists, sitting on Easter Island. Yeah, the rest of the world seems relatively sensible, I think. Yeah, it's mostly Europe that everything's going absolutely bonkers. Russians are having revolution problems, as they tend to. Yeah, this is the biggest nonsense. Okay, so, yeah, we're going to head over here and invade this. I'm pretty sure I just got the tech that I needed. I did. And now we get the 4 times centreline. It's just the tech randomness system kicking in. I'm pretty sure 5 lets you do 4, but never underestimate this game. Unfortunately, I've done a lot of the complicated working out. So we know we're going to do 21 knots and a 19,000-ton ship. Standard this. We'll go for standard coal, but that seems very unlikely. We're going to push this all the way back. 2 funnels. Ooh, turbines are actually slightly heavier. So it's not going that fast. We'll stick to expansion engines in that case. So, yeah, this is going to be a weird thing in between a semi-dreadnought and a proper, full-fat dreadnought. Turbines are just a little bit, well, not too expensive, but they're just not quite, we're not quite at the point of using those yet. Right, and then this one needs to go here. And then was it this one that fits? No. This one? Sure it was this one. There we go. Shove those in. Right, that's back to where I was when I was considering this ship. So that is, I think, a fine main gun armament. We do, of course, have the cutouts here where the real dreadnought would have had wing turrets, but wing turrets are terrible. And if you can avoid using them, you should. Secondary guns. Some interesting options here. Like an 8-inch gun. This really would be a semi-dreadnought. Pair of 8-inch guns. Or a pair of twin 8-inch guns each side. That could be a fun little option. It's certainly different to what I would normally make. And they are Mark IIs. So they've got good accuracy and good range. This is definitely a semi-dreadnought now. Casemate 6-inch. What? What? When did this hull have that ability? That's hilarious. Sure, we'll have... What? A couple of 6-inch guns shoved in there as well. Cool. And then I guess I could look for somewhere to put like 2-inch guns. Yeah, I could put a couple of signalling guns on. Cool. These are really weird. Well. Oh, that's fun. I'm liking this ship a lot more than I was expecting. I thought, I've built ships like this tons, but I don't think I've ever built a ship quite like this. Stick with white powder and TNT. Armour is the next thing we need to think about. We have plenty of tonnage for armour. Let's look at our main guns, first of all, and deck armour. So I think a 1.5 on the main deck and 0.2. I know that there are issues around deck hits. We are looking at it. It's not a mod thing, it's a base game thing. And good grief, fiddling with... Because the penetrations are just right. The ranges are a bit long in diff at the moment. But other than that, I'm pretty happy with the gun balance. The problem is the base game's ballistic calculations are extremely fiddly. And it is very easy to break everything. Right. I think that's pretty solid. Right, I really don't want to be taking hits from enemy 6-inch guns, so we definitely want at least 3-inch on the superstructure. I might add, fuck it up, 30 inches of armour on the tower. How much belt armour can I slap on this thing? 20? Hot diggity daffodil. 14 would be more than enough. And to be honest, 12 is probably fine. We'll go 14 on the turrets, though. Now I'm overweight, but I do have that coal to get rid of. Here we go. Okay, so we do have a bit of spare displacement. Gun lengths. Secondary guns, I generally like to be on the longer side if I can get away with it, but we don't have much length adjustment. So 45s and a 42 and a 35 on the main guns. We need casemate armour. And we need armour on the 8-inch guns. Probably 6-inch. Something like that. So these can definitely be taken out. But they will require an equivalent gun to do it. Like, they need to be taken basically full caliber fire from an armoured or bigger cruiser. These are really here just to blap a torpedo boat or a destroyer out of existence, because the high explosive shells have just enough pen to go through a destroyer. And then their AP rounds will be actually quite useful against anything else on their extended armour. So I'm actually going to go back to standard ratio on there. 6 inches, the HE is probably not going to be as useful, but they might chip in. Okay, well, that is a fascinating vessel. It kind of is a semi-dreadnought rather than a full dreadnought to my eyes. But it's pretty fast for a semi-dreadnought at 21 knots. I did make it go 21 knots, right? Yep, I did. Still using expansion engines. It doesn't have a turbine system. With a very modern main battery layout, but still using intermediate caliber guns on the side. So a bit of an odd duck. Let me know in the comments what you think of this thing. I can't really think of a historical ship that would be like this. Obviously, I know British battleships the best. So around this sort of time, the British were building the Bellerophons, which carried 10 12-inch guns, but they had the same layout as Dreadnought. So they would have one here, and one here, and then I think 2 at the back. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah. So it's the 2 wings, and then an XY. And then it was the St. Vincent's, and they had the same layout, I believe. And then we're on to Neptune, which also had the same layout. I think. Or did she have extra? No, same layout. And then Colossus, also still using the wing turrets. And they were being built in 1910 or so. And then you're on to the Orions, which are super dreadnoughts. Okay, when did they start using... Yeah, I think it's the King George V that started using a twin up front. No, the Orions did as well. They had a Q turret. So they would... These two, a Q in the middle, and then these two. And of course they were 13.5s. So yeah, there's definitely not a British ship this is similar to. Maybe there's another country that built a ship similar to this. But yeah, weirdly, both advanced and backwards at the same time. We shall save you. And we shall build you the Doxer. In theory, I could build 2 of these. However, how much are they going to cost me? And 139 million, they're not that much more than the refitted Canaris class. So they're relatively price efficient. But they cost me 8 million a month to build. And that was going to put me negative anyway. So I'm only going to build 1. I might build them in series rather than parallel, which I think would make a lot more sense. But by the time this is finished, we probably will have new techs, better hulls, etc. But so we're kind of almost doing an artisan campaign, but not quite with the battleships. Or at least we will be for some time. Anyway, let's send the fleet over to the Balearic Islands, launch an invasion, and I will see you for that next time. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you again soon for some more Ultimate Apple Dreadnoughts. Bye for now.